Hey, it's Dr. Karen Can. Welcome to this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. The topic is conscious truth. But before we dive in, if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and perhaps the notification bell so every time we do a new video, you will be notified. Now, each week I tune in and ask Source what the topic is for the week. And I gotta tell you, wasn't too happy about this week's topic, conscious truth, because I'm like, what does that even mean, right? So, as often the case, I am to share a little bit of my own personal life and process with you to illustrate the point, which of course sometimes is not very comfortable, but here we go. Let's back up a little bit and first talk about truth. There is a YouTube video I did, a Spiritual Medicine Digest, that was called Truth is Not Immutable, something like that. And that was potentially triggering for some people, including myself, because I always thought, well, divine truth is divine truth. It's just immovable. It's immutable. It's just there, right? And then when you look at some of the work of some of the great spiritual leaders of our time, for example, Byron Katie, they talk about the truth being what is now. That is the only truth that is true. Not our perception of now or what we think about what's going on now, not our judgment of it. So that is a really difficult thing for a lot of people to grasp. And these days, the word truth is being thrown around all over the place on social media, right? If you can stand social media and you're still there. And hence the truther movement or the anti-truther movement, also called the mainstream narrative. So there's all these words about, this is the truth, and, we've been lied to, and, there's all this deception going on and fraud. And I'm not saying that's not true. That absolutely is true. We've been deceived, if you will, as a species, globally for a very long time, to the point where it is so traumatizing for people to even imagine that that could possibly be happen, that it's, their system can't handle it. So they're like, nope, nope, see here, no evil, see no evil, right? Like, so it's like la 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 la, not listening, not listening, not listening. That's me when somebody tells me the plot of a story that I haven't watched on the movie yet. Anyway, so so we can totally understand it can be very traumatic for people to learn a truth, if you will, or should we say things that have happened historically, that they thought was one thing and it is the other. And then the words disinformation and misinformation are thrown around a lot as well. In fact, some of my medical colleagues and medical freedom healthy heroes, like Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, for example, they were, blasted on mainstream media as being part of the disinformation dozen. Interestingly, they actually, or somebody did, bought the domain name dis as with a I'll link it here with a dash, disinformation dozen, which I thought was actually quite pretty smart actually to just share their side of the story. Of course, it's not really ranking on the internet, search engines, but I did find it. And disinformation and misinformation are different because of one key thing. It has to do with intent, or in this case, conscious intent. So a disinformation campaign, if you will, is one that purposefully gives you the wrong information or gives us the wrong information. Misinformation could be inaccurate information, but the intent is not to deceive. See, that's the difference. And so we have been finding out through various different channels, which are very difficult sometimes to although getting easier and easier to find out about, because the mainstream is very prominent, and in our faces. And when we do a search on most, if not all, search engines, we get whatever it is they wish us to see. They being those that would hold us back, the other beings that are another version of ourselves, having a different experience, giving us a contrast of what it is we desire, which is heaven on earth. That's who I'm talking about. So the disinformation campaign has been very, very effective to some degree, to a certain percentage of the population, because there's a lot of people that just watch what's on mainstream or read what's on mainstream and believe it. I mean, I was very, very innocent previously. Anything that the church leaders said, the Bible said, or this book or that book, that we were told to read in school, I just thought that it must all be true, because why would anybody want to, tell us mistruths or harm us or do any of those things? Like I said, I was very innocent. And now it is like, oh, okay, that's why. Power, money, scarcity. Yeah, scarcity is kind of the seed infection, if you will, that causes people to act in a way that hurts other people. So, in other words, more for you is less for me, and therefore I must hoard, I must control, I must, tell you whatever I need to tell you, so to protect myself and my own. And screw you guys, I'm going home, right? Like Cartman from South Park. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Anyway, so there has been a lot of that going on. But what is conscious truth? Well, let's talk about kind of the opposite. What happened recently in my life is, my dad and I were having, let's just say, a debate a few months ago around my beliefs, and how, despite all the decades of support, that I've given my parents, being probably the sibling that is the most involved, in their lives, and helping with, medical stuff, and, doing acupuncture and healings, and, PowerPoint charts of, supplements to take, and whatever else, counseling, coaching. I mean, I've been counseling my mom for her mental issues since age probably 5 or 6, right? So probably not a great boundary back then, but I was 5. Who knew? So, that because of my views on medical freedom, all of a sudden I have become the black sheep of the family, and somehow are treating or mistreating my parents because I refuse to do certain things that the news is telling us to do, because, from my point of view, could it be harmful to my body? Yeah, probably. But I'm more concerned about the example that I create if I am willing to submit to medical tyranny. And on the one hand, people are pro-life, other people are pro-choice, and the people that are pro-choice also submit to medical tyranny, which makes no sense to me in many ways. So because of my medical views, and because I am standing up for people that can't stand up for themselves, including the children, I have now become the black sheep in a very, very big way. So what's that got to do with conscious truth? Well, during this repartee back and forth that was not going anywhere, and now I know better than to continue those conversations, finally I said, okay, here's the thing, Dad. There is a greater law that I follow, and he's Christian, so he kind of gets what I'm talking about using these words. So I used it in the words he would understand. I said, I follow God's law, not man's law. And I have come here as an angel in human form to help bring about a different era of peace and harmony. And I'm sorry if you don't like it and you don't agree with it. And after that, he was like, well, end of that conversation, right? Which I was like, well, yes, that is the end of that. Like, I'm just not going to follow man's law if it is against source, like what I'm being called and guided to do. Even though it's difficult, it's really difficult to stand up, right? And kudos to you guys if you're doing that. And I'm not saying you should if you're not. It may not be your mission, but it is my mission. So I am in line with the mission, and it's very difficult, especially dealing with loved ones. And some of you know what I'm talking about personally. So when we have this my personal truth coming out, and I had not shared with my parents about the angelic soul that has come into this form. Good thing I didn't tell them about the alien soul. Anyway, just told him about the angelic one. Because he's Christian, he would get that one, right? Okay, so recently there was an email that went out to all family and friends that basically said, well, God, my daughter, Karen, is apparently God, and she is an angel in human form, and God is telling her what to do through her personal direct connection with God through meditation, and that she believes she's saving the world, and God is telling her how to treat her parents. And that we are just ignorant to her beliefs. Now, let's take, if we put that apart, now this is a teaching point, okay? I'm not here to shame my dad or anything like that. It's not about that. I just want you to look at the actual sentence, the words. So the sort of like the spirit of the law and the meter of the law, So the words were actually, was that actually truth? Well, yeah. I mean, according to my truth, what he said was actually true. Oh my God. Yes, but so are you, and so is he, and so is him, and so is she, and everyone is God incarnate. At least, from my perception of that truth. He said I was an angel. Yes, that is what I'm told. And I know. So that's also true. And that I connect with Source, God, directly through meditation. That's true too. And does God tell me how to treat my parents? Yeah. But can you see that that's where there's an assumption or an energy behind that truth that is there to mislead, or purposely or not purposely, to a different direction? And do I believe that my parents are ignorant of my beliefs? Not really. I think they kind of know what my beliefs are because it's been pretty transparent, right? Are we ignorant of certain things? Absolutely. I, often say, well, I'm completely ignorant how to make a rocket ship. Totally have no idea, right? I'm ignorant of how to, wire a house. I'm ignorant of how to fix the leaky bathroom, faucet. No clue. Right? So we're all ignorant of something. But can you see the way it's written is a way to malign or discredit me in front of all the friends and family. So even though things were true, right, the intent behind those truths were that, well, I don't really believe they're true, and I'm trying to make her look stupid, bad, ridiculous, that kind of thing. Yeah, like, did I take a risk telling him my truth? Absolutely, I did. I think of them as experiments, I suppose. And perhaps not very good boundaries, but I really wanted to end that conversation. I'm just not gonna do what you want me to do because it's not healthy, it's not scientific, and it's harmful to other people, and I cannot set that example, right? Anyway, so conscious truth is kind of like the opposite of that, where we're conscious of the intent of what it is we're saying and aligning to the original intent, in this case, someone's personal truth. Now, in this case, it's the opposite or contrast to conscious truth, what Source is trying to get me to share with you guys, is the contrast is we're going to take what is true, but somehow, wield it as a weapon to make me look bad or stupid or weird or whatever the black sheep label of the day is. So conscious truth is that alignment to what's true. Now, what's true for me may not be true for somebody else, and I'm not saying it should be. Okay, so just make sure you get that point here. The conscious truth is that full alignment with the original intent and energy, because everything is energy, right? So an intention is an energy. Now, that is the whole point of this, and just so you know, in case those of you are, trying to, do not feel negative feelings towards my dad. Okay, he's come such a long way from how he grew up. I mean, I won't go into detail, but it's actually pretty amazing that he and my mom actually turned out as well as they did and as modern thinking as they did. And he's doing some great work now that he knows that he's doing healing work, but he's doing some great internal work right now. So please do not feel any negative feelings. In fact, just send lots of love to all of us. I appreciate that as well. Send love to me, send love to him, my mom, if you would like to. I would greatly appreciate that if you feel so called to do so. It's just a discussion of, the differences. And just, as far as the boundaries go, I'm reading this book called Where to Draw the Line by Anne Catherine. And it's an older book. It's very, very good. It's excellent. And I got some scripts and got some examples from the book. I was like, oh, okay, that's where I screwed up. Like, for example, I've been learning and practicing active listening. And through, the coaching mentoring, is getting better and better at it, right? But here's the thing, didn't know until I read the book that active listening doesn't work with someone who's attacking you. Go figure, right? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know why I did that. Okay. Note to self, don't do that again. It doesn't work. I was like, oh, okay. Because it just gives more fuel to the fire. And so I was able to use what I learned because I'm a very good student. I'll say that about myself. I'm a very good student. What I learned to be very clear in my request, to, in this case, my dad, about what is acceptable and not acceptable behavior, speech, whatever, towards me. And we've come to, I know it seems like an impasse, but we've come to an agreement that, he's not going to talk to me in that way, and we're just going to set aside our differences so I can take care of my parent or parents in the meantime. And having, enacted those healthy boundaries, I'm getting better at this every day. Sensitive souls have a hard time sometimes. Has been really empowering and also very loving. So self-loving as well as loving them as well, because we teach people how to treat us. And if they mistreat us, even if they don't intend to mistreat us, there's negative energy that's passed around, right? And that doesn't help them. In fact, it probably infects them as well. So it's all good. So please don't feel sorry for me or anything like that. This is all a teaching point about the topic that Source asked me to talk about this week. So let's do some TOLPAKAN Healing Activation. So in this activation, we are going to do some alignment, okay, alignment with conscious truth, personal truth, divine truth, and the truth of all of humanity. That humanity is not broken. Okay, humanity is not needing fixing. Humanity is not needing robot parts to be whole or to work. Humanity is beautiful, and we are, as a whole, an expression of the one source. So just downloading and activating all of those truths. So if you'd like to receive and see what that feels like, you can just make the intention to receive all positive energies that are for your highest and greatest good. Let's go into the still point together. You can rub your hands if you'd like to do it this way. It's optional, just to get energy and chi or ki flowing in the body. And then relax. If it's safe for you to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. Focus on the inside of your body, perhaps where your hands have just been rubbing. And then feel any energies, waves, tingles, movement in the body. And follow that flow wherever it goes. Perhaps it goes up your arm, perhaps it goes down your legs, perhaps you feel at the bottom of your feet, top of your head, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. You don't have to judge it, just let it be there and just follow that flow wherever it goes. As we train our minds to follow the flow, we are entering this still point now. And I will speak several TOLPAKAN healing directives so that we can align with these truths. So just make your heart open to receive. It's for your highest and greatest good. Continue noticing the feeling in your body as I speak these directives. I now command that you be aligned fully to your personal truth in all ways possible. I now command that you be aligned to divine love, light, and truth in all ways possible. I now command that you be aligned to humanity's truth in all ways possible. I now command that you be aligned to conscious truth in all ways possible. Anything preventing these alignments be immediately healed with ease, speed, and grace. In all realities where you exist, anything that is you're connected to or empathizing with, perhaps a soul destiny partner, that they also receive this healing if it is for the highest and greatest good. And let's feel into the body and give thanks for that alignment. Allow this alignment with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way. For this and all the blessings, give her thanks and gratitude. So be it, and so it is. So I don't know about how you feel, but I kind of feel like a whoosh, there. It's kind of a peaceful feeling for me. But I'd love to know what it feels like for you. So please put in the comments below of how that felt in the body. What did that bring up for you? Feel free also to give me some comments about what you think conscious truth is like and whether you have additional perceptions of what Source may be sharing with us as a collective to heal us and to support us and love us. So some announcements for this week. The first Monday of the month is coming up, and I have the great pleasure of being live with my colleague, Dr. Dennis Lobstein, and we are going to share some wisdom about how to use the LifeWave phototherapy patches in an advanced way. So if you're into Chinese medicine, acupuncture points, and learning about sacred geometry to some degree and using phototherapy in these advanced ways, then join the show. There is a link near this video, which is where you can put in your questions, and we will take your questions first come, first serve, those that put it in the event. Now, after this month, we will actually be switching over to Zoom, meaning that Dr. Dennis and I will actually be doing a live Zoom with you and answering your questions live on Zoom. Yay, pictures, right? Sometimes it's really hard to do pictures when, it's radio. Now, of course, the recording of that will still be airing on the radio show for those that follow the podcast. However, you have a chance to be on the Zoom Live with us, and we actually are making, as we speak, a brand new link where you can deposit your questions every single month for Dr. Dennis and I to address. So feel free to follow us on patchtrainingteam.com or on our patchtrainingteam.com Facebook page, the events page, because things will be posted up there, and then the new link will be shown there, and you can put your questions in, as well as being able to come right onto the Zoom meeting with us on those days. So there are different days because the holidays are coming up, and in the future in 2024, they will be consistently on Mondays. But like I said, there's going to be a calendar. You can subscribe to the calendar. If there's any changes, we'll let you know. And it'll give you some regular updates of when those calls are, what the link is, etc., etc. And so we're really excited about this shift and change. So a couple of things about cool stuff, new stuff. Last week I had forgotten to hit record on the Sacred Economy and the New Story of Money webinar. So I'm doing it again. So we're doing a live encore of this webinar. So it's called Sacred Economy and the New Story of Money, Healing Our Collective Money Wounds. So there actually is TOLPAKAN Healing Group healing in the middle of this presentation. So if you missed it, you have another chance to actually come live. It's going to be 10 a.m. on Saturday, so possibly some of our Europeans can come live this time. And I will hit the record button. People are going to remind me this week. So you'll have a 7-day replay in case you cannot make it on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern and you are interested. The other thing too is I have a really cool thing to share with you, a YouTube video that I made showing how effective weather magic has been to decrease wildfires around the world. That is a really cool short video. Check it out. And remember to share the weather magic free chapter link to wherever you want to, whoever you think might be helped by learning how to do weather magic, whether that be, making it sunny instead of rainy for someone's wedding or camp out or, or moving a hurricane, whatever it is, we could all use your help. So feel free to give that link out, which is karencan.com/weather. And for those that are celebrating Labor Day, have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful Labor Day on the 4th of September. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to comment and then, of course, hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I look forward to seeing you next week. Lots of love and bye for now.